Hello everyone, my name is Saurabh Kumar and I welcome you all to my video series of AWS where we have reached now in part number 24. In this session, we will be talking about CDN and we will be talking about CloudFront. We will be also having a look at the practical side of CloudFront, how to set up it, how to use it, where do we use it, what is the need of it, what are the features it provides. So all those things we will be covering in this session. Let's begin. So very first thing we have to be knowing about what is CDN is. CDN is actually you can say like a name which is being used by every different organization and company. So full name of CDN is Content Delivery Network. It is a generic term actually. That's why this term will be used by anybody. If you talk about any company, like if you talk about YouTube, if you talk about Google, if you talk about Microsoft, or maybe any of your telecom service provider, network service provider, they use this term CDN and they need the CDN. What is the use of CDN? Why do they need CDN actually is? Because it is a globally distributed network. Globally distributed network means it is available, it is reachable everywhere. It's not like only in America, only in Africa, only in Asia. It is globally distributed network of caching server. I hope this term will give you already the conclusion of it. What it is providing a caching server. A server which will be having a cache of the file, of your video, of your website, any of the content which you want to have there, to speed up the downloading of web and media page. So nowadays, in if we talk about, like, there are many number of companies are who provide online video sites also, like not only YouTube, but nowadays we have others app as well, like Netflix. You have so many number of sites like Udemy, or so many other companies are there who are having so many real stuff, real content which they want to distribute all over the world. So to provide that content to all over the world, they need the help of the cache so that they can provide their services, their video, their audio, their website very fast to the customer side. So it allow to increase the scalability of the website or mobile app. That is another point about CDN, that by using CDN you are increasing the scalability of your website or any of the mobile app which you have there. So if you are clear with the CDN, Amazon is calling this technology, this one, as a CloudFront. So Amazon CloudFront is nothing else, it is a AWS based CDN. AWS or Amazon has given just a new term here, new name, and that name is known as CloudFront. So it is nothing else, it's like a CDN. So what is CDN is? Content Delivery Network. So Amazon CloudFront will be doing what? It is used to deliver your website, your media, mobile content using Amazon global network of edge locations. Now let's try to understand it in a better way. Here you see from this picture that this is maybe a user who is looking for the resource. Let's say that I'm just taking an example that maybe I want to access a video, I want to watch a video which is available maybe on YouTube. I'm just taking a normal example so that you can understand in a well way. So YouTube main server is maybe in America there. Somebody from America, maybe my favorite singer or maybe my favorite comedian who is from America, he has uploaded his video or her video on YouTube server in America. Now I am sitting in India and I want to watch that video. So if there is no any CloudFront or cache or anything, what happens generally that my request is going directly to the YouTube server which is in America, requesting for that video, and that video is directly streaming on my screen from the America server. That's how it works. That is the normal condition if you are not using any cache server. So now, for example, let's say that 500 or maybe 5,000 or maybe 5 million users in India watching that video which is uploaded on America server. You can imagine now how much the traffic will be just there from India going to America to get the same video. Now, to make it more better, to make it more faster, companies like YouTube or any organization who has the resource which they want to be available for, make it available for their consumer, their customer, their viewers, they can use the cache server. So maybe they will use a cache server, let's say that in India. I'm just taking an example. Of course, they will be having even many cache server in many city of India, but I'm just taking assuming that maybe they have made at one place in India one cache server or two cache server or five cache server. What this cache server will be doing that, for example, if I have tried to access that video and that video was not here in cache server, then my request first actually goes to cache server. Cache server say that, oh, this video I don't have, so he forward my request to the main server of YouTube in America. Then that video will be retrieved here on the cache server and I am watching here. Now the benefit will be for the second guy. Maybe my friend who is also in India want to watch that video. His request, this guy request will go to the cache server, and because cache server is already having that video there, it will be responded quickly from here itself. So now if we have like 1 million number of users also in India, or 2 million or 20 million or 100 millions of users there, their request will not be required to go every time to America server. It will be, they will be able to watch the video from where? From this cache server which is in India itself. It is already having that video here. It can work same way in different area. Like for example, I am in India, I have my YouTube channel, I upload my video. So when you are uploading the video, you are not defining, actually YouTube doesn't tell you that which server is being utilized to upload your video, right? But right now we are not learning about YouTube, we are learning about Amazon. We know that when we are creating EC2 instance, when we are creating the bucket, you know bucket, right? Where you keep your data. So when you are creating a bucket, maybe you have created a bucket somewhere in America, maybe in Ohio. That bucket contains maybe your website, your picture, your video, your audio, and you have very many users or consumers or viewer in India. So those all requests of the people who are in India, they are supposed to, if they want to access those resources, they have to go to the server where the S3 bucket is located in America, which is just doing a kind of taking big latency. So now the better idea what I can do is, maybe my main server will remain there in America, but I can have a cache server itself in India, and that cache server will be resolving the all query. So now for example, any of my employee who is in India, he want to watch the video, he want to see maybe the picture which is stored on my bucket, he request will just go to this cache server, and this cache server is going to respond him quickly and fast. So I hope now it is clear to you what CloudFront will be doing, what CloudFront can be, why CloudFront is needed, and where do we use it. So now next thing, let's try to have a look that what is the market segment for CDN, who are the people, or what is the use, where do we use the CDN. So here is the example. All the media and entertainment company, like if we talk about any of the media and entertainment company, YouTube, Netflix, or any of the sites which is maybe having even educational video like Udemy, like LearnMall, like Idioda. So these all company, those who are providing you the content, video content, picture content, I mean the data which is big in size, heavy data, which is constant, maybe like video. When you upload, it is just big in size, but it is not every day being changed. So that kind of data, if you are distributing, you can take help of the Amazon CloudFront. It can be used by the gaming. If you play game, online game, like if you are playing Ludo, if you are playing PUBG, if you are playing any online games where you require multiple users to be connected, that type of game also runs on the CDN. They are also having CDN on their regions wise, and on the CDN the customers will be connecting there and working there from there itself. E-commerce site like Amazon itself. Amazon is having a e-commerce site and you can buy from there. So when you want to do any shopping or something, they have their CDN. They have point of presence. So whatever your nearest point of presence is, from there you will be able to get in touch, and that server will quickly respond you back. Meaning that, for example, if I'm in India and I'm doing any shopping on Amazon, so my request generally goes to the server of Amazon which is in India itself, not goes to America. But when you are in America and if you are searching Amazon, it goes to the server which is located in America. So CDN is having one more term called as a POP, point of presence. If I mention it here, it is having POP. POP is meaning that point of presence, where it is present, which can respond you quickly, which can respond your request. So that is called as a point of presence. Then it has edge and all those kind of terms which I'm not going to talk right now about them. So let us first finish what are the market segment for it. So we have all media and entertainment companies, gaming, e-commerce, digital advertising. If some company is doing digital advertising, they uses the CDN. Software downloads, especially those softwares which you download for free, or maybe any big company also like File Hippo or other sites where from you generally download the softwares or something. They use even Microsoft. They allow you to download the software. Like you can download evaluation version of Windows Server, Windows Server 2012, 16, SQL. So those all are where actually stored. They are being stored on the CDN. If I'm in India, I'm downloading the Windows Server image. My request is going, for example, if I'm in India, so my request goes to nearest point of presence. There is a cache server, and that cache server is also having the Windows image, and I get downloaded from there. Somebody may be in Africa, so maybe there is also a point of presence, there is also a cache server. So when you are in Africa downloading this game or downloading this Microsoft Windows image, you are downloading from this server, not from the same server where from I am downloading. If you are in Australia, you are using a different cache server. If you are in Russia, you may have a different cache server there. So CDN is what actually content delivery network. Keep in your mind, it is a network, distributed network. The network can be in every region, it can be in every country also, where from you are having a cache server, and this cache server allow you to get the resource at your system. It is also being used by the dynamic website and applications. Applications meaning that it can be even those applications which is maybe containing big videos, images, or any dynamic content which is big inside, maybe they can use the cache server. So this is what all about the market segment of the CDN. Next point is, what are the popular CloudFront features are? What it can give you? What are the better feature? Why should we use it? What is the good in there? So the first feature about CloudFront is video streaming. By using the CloudFront, you are able to do the video streaming. So on demand, live streaming, RTMP, that is for Flash actually. And I'm going to tell you about RTMP something more because RTMP is going to be removed. Even it is showing here as a feature, but the support of RTMP is going to be removed from Amazon, very in recent time, maybe in December 2020. So I will come back to this one again. But here you see this is the feature that it provide on-demand live streaming, adaptive bitrate live streaming, Microsoft smooth streaming. These all can be possible with the help of CloudFront. Second point is it provides high availability because every region is having a cache server. So it gives the high availability 99.9% SLA, service level agreement. Automatic origin failover is there. Custom error pages. It provides it serves a state content when origin unavailable. Then it also provides the whole site delivery. You can deliver the whole complete site of your company by the help of CloudFront. So you can have a static dynamic content, mobile detect, core support, multiple cache behaviors, multiple origin servers. Then the next point is it provides high performance because it is somehow working on the latency. I have already given you example that if I am in India and if maybe a video has been uploaded in America server, I don't have to go, my computer request should not every time needed to go to the America server to get that video. That video, if somebody has already watched in India, it is already stored now in a cache server in India itself. So whenever I want to maybe watch that video next time, I will, or my computer request will not be required to go to American server. It will be resolved here from the cache server located in India itself. So it works on the latency, TCP optimization, persistent connections, eDNS client subnet. So these are all are the good feature about the CloudFront. Next point is it provides the security because it provides the private content, signed URL, cookies. You can use the signed verification there. You can add the SSL certificate also there. You can use custom SSL. You can use HTTP, HTTPS for security. So these are the security features is provide. Plus the last but not least, that is low TCO. T for total, C for cost of owner, O for owner. So it reduces the total cost of owner or owning. If you are a owner of a site, it is going to reduce your cost because it is, you don't need now to have a server, your dedicated server, your dedicated engineer, your dedicated power supply resource and all those kind of things. You can simply use the CloudFront, pay for the use, commit based lower pricing, price classes are there, so you can choose which class you belongs to, and thereafter preferential pricing for AWS origins. So overall you can see what is the good point about CloudFront is it gives better streaming function, high availability, high performance, whole site delivery, it provides better security and reducing the cost of total cost of the ownership. Next point about the CloudFront, here you see that it can be used for any type of content. Either you have a static website and content is there, or either you have a dynamic content. So generally what happen, here I have used this diagram to explain you that. For example, here is a user and you have a website. Maybe your website is having some applications on it, maybe some database on it, plus some of the content on it. Maybe you have some videos on your website, you have some pictures over there, you have some PDF files there. So all the content, they may be stored into the bucket here. You see, on the bucket, maybe your static contents will be there. A static contents means those content which is not every time being changed. And your dynamic informations can be running on your any of the EC2 instance or WordPress server. So if somebody is requesting, your request goes to the first of all DNS of the Amazon. Amazon DNS forward this request to the relevant CloudFront. CloudFront is receiving the content, one from a static information from the bucket and dynamic content through the help of load balancer from the any of the instances. So any of the content which is quickly being changed, dynamic type of data, like if you're somebody is trying to log in, maybe somebody trying to log in, somebody trying to do any changes on the site, that will be happening as a dynamic part. So it will be going like this. If somebody is accessing the resource only which is stored for on the site from a long period of time, that will be stored in the S3 bucket, and that bucket can be easily cached on the CloudFront. So this is how the CloudFront works actually. It works for both a static and dynamic content, but it is possible that a static content can be cached, where dynamic content cannot be cached. It will be always accessed from the main server. Next point is Amazon CloudFront use cases, how it is being used. If you are maybe a user, you are a IT person of a company, how you are going to make CloudFront in a use mode. So very first task you require is, maybe you are a developer, so very first task you are going to perform, that you are going to keep all your content on the bucket. That will be your first task. Either on the bucket, either on your HTTP server, you are going to keep your own content. Let's say that I have, for example, I have maybe like 20 videos which I want to share on my website. So where those 20 video has to be put on S3 bucket or either on my HTTP server. So first, even before I put actually, sorry, I have to create the bucket or I have to create the HTTP server. That's the first task. Second, once bucket is ready, once already the server is ready, you are going to put your all objects there, your video, pictures, PDF, all the data which you want to keep, you are going to keep it there. Then the third task you are going to perform, that you are going to configure now the CloudFront. That will be working like a cache server for the original data. And thereafter, this CloudFront will give you an URL. This will be giving you an URL like something like this. This URL will be given to you from the CloudFront, and that URL you are going to share with your family members, your employees of the company, your colleagues, or to whom or wherever you want to share it with. So everybody will be now having this URL. For example, you are a IT person of any ABC company. So you have made a S3 bucket. You kept all the resource there. Then you created a Amazon CloudFront. Amazon CloudFront has given you the link. That link you will share to me, to the other colleague, whoever is working in your company. So we will be using that URL to access the resource. So what is the benefit now going to happen, that every time when I request for the resource, my request will be not going to my bucket directly, it will be going to the CloudFront. CloudFront will check that what is the content already here cached. It will respond back with that cache. If anything is not there, then it will be sending the request to the origin. Origin will respond back to this CloudFront, and then CloudFront will respond me back. So this Amazon CloudFront is going to work exactly nothing else like it is a cache server. I hope it is clear now how the CloudFront works. How do we use in a real scenario? So now somebody can think about the same like me. I was thinking that is it going to be free? So answer for those questions that it is not free, but there is an option that, for example, if you are having a free tier account that is valid for 1 year, so by using that free tier account also, you can have CloudFront. There is a limitation that you can use the CloudFront to store your cache up to 50 GB, but I think it is too big. 50 GB cache you can store up to CloudFront, it will be no charge. If you are using free tier account, you can store up to 50 GB data on the CloudFront. Maybe you have a website. Generally website what we keep file, a PDF, document. So even if you use the CloudFront for those dynamic website or something, it is not going to be reaching 50 GB. It can reach maybe 1 GB, 2 GB or something. If you add videos there, then it may reach 10 GB, 20 GB. So 50 GB is really too much to have for free, and there is some limitation of access also. If I'm not wrong, it is going to be approx 100,000 number of requests will be free. So if somebody is requesting up to that much number only, it is again free. After that only the charge may occur. Now the next point is we are going to have a look at some of the icons here. These are the some icons. So if you are reading any book, or maybe if you are doing practice on the management console, you may see this kind of logo there, this kind of picture there, which represents its name. Like this logo is for CloudFront, this one is for download distribution, edge location, a streaming distribution, archive, vault looks like this, Amazon Glacier, AWS import export, Snowball, import export. This is for snapshot. This is for volume. This is for EBS, Amazon Elastic Block Storage. We have Amazon simple storage services like S3, bucket, bucket with object, object, Amazon EFS. So these are some of the nothing else. It's a icon which generally you can see when maybe you have document with you, which is mentioned that what are the services running in your company, where it is located. So rather than keeping the name, they may just use the symbol there, and you have to understand that what exactly there it is. Now the next thing, we are now moving towards the practical part of it. Now we are going to see the practical of CloudFront. I mean, I will be showing you here that how to configure CloudFront. Maybe you have a dynamic website, or maybe you have any content like video or maybe picture, how to use the CloudFront for it. So for this demonstration, I am going to use maybe just few images or one or two images, and that images I will be keeping on the S3 bucket, and then I will show you how I can use CloudFront as a cache server to deploy or to distribute that picture to others. So let's begin. To doing this practical, we are going to follow these steps. So very first step I am going to follow, that is I will be creating a S3 bucket there. In the bucket I am going to upload some of the picture, and thereafter I will be creating the CloudFront, and then I will show you how the CloudFront is going to give me an URL, and by using URL how we are able to access that content which is stored into the S3 bucket. Now we are going to follow these steps. So first thing I am going to do, that is I am going to open my browser, and let's log in to the AWS console. So once we log in, as per our plan, the very first task we are going to do, that is we are going to the S3 service, and we are going to create a bucket there. So we go to the services, we can look from there also, recently visited, or maybe we can look from here also, S3 in a storage. So we go to the S3 service. Here I have already one bucket, but let me create one more new bucket there for this practical. So I click on create bucket. I define any name. The name has to be unique because it is checking worldwide that the name should not be again used, because it is going to match with my S3 also. So anyhow I can use here maybe the bucket name, let's say that Saurav, let's say that picture, pick bucket. I guess it looks a bit big name. I can use maybe shortcut SK pick buck 01. Let us test with this. Keep in mind that S3 is a global service, but the bucket which we are making, it is a region based. So my bucket is being created where? It is in Ohio, East US. I can choose other place also, maybe in Mumbai, maybe somewhere else. But let me continue with Ohio, and then I will show you something there. So I am creating a bucket which is in America. I am clicking on create. Even I can go with this option so that I will get more, but I am going with the default setting. I don't need right now all versions or logs, so I'm just going with the default setting. I don't want event it to make public. I just go with the next and create bucket. So I am done with creating a bucket, escape pick bucket. Here I will be putting maybe some of my picture, and I want this picture to be maybe available to everyone, and I want to use the cloud front so that this picture can be easily faster accessed by the people from their nearest cache server. So what will be the next step? First step we have followed, that is we created the bucket. Next is upload some images or maybe any web page if you have. So I don't have right now web page, that's why I have gone with the option example of images. So I am going to upload some image on it. So let me go here. I click on the escape pick bucket and I'm going to upload. Either I can upload directly to this bucket the pictures, or either I can upload it in any specific folder and then the pictures I upload. So I have both choice. For me, rather than wasting the type of creating a folder and all, I'm just going to upload directly here. So I click on upload, add the files. So let me add the file from my desktop if I have some picture there. Yes, I have some picture there. Let me choose some of them. Maybe I use this picture, this picture, this picture, and then I click on open. So these are some of the pictures, are their size are like approx 7 MB, 5 MB, 6 MB like that. I click on upload. So here you can see the upload process. It has just started. 2%, 5%, that is how it is going to work. Right now it is uploading the pictures. So once this picture will be uploaded, it will be stored in my bucket, right? And if I have shared my bucket publicly, anybody can access it. If I haven't shared it publicly, only I can see that bucket. I can see only the content inside the bucket. Nobody else can see there. So once this bucket will be ready, once this picture will be uploaded, then we are going to follow this third task, that is creating a CloudFront distribution. So let's just wait for a moment to get it completed, to get it uploaded. Why I am using the a bit bigger picture? Because there I will see at least a difference of a second when I am using the CloudFront. Otherwise, if I use a small picture, I will not be able to see any difference at all. So that's why I'm using a picture a bit big inside, so that I can see a bit difference there. While opening the file, it will take some time. So now we can see the pictures are uploaded, 2 of them, now 3 of them are uploaded. To make it just easy to remember and all, what I can do maybe that, let me change its name. So I click on rename of this picture, and maybe I just leave it like this, 218, or maybe I give the name to this picture 200. Save. This one also maybe I change the name just to make it easy. I'm changing the name. Maybe this one I give the number 201, and for this one I'm telling that it name I want to keep maybe 202, just for making it easy. So I have 3 pictures there. If I click on any one of them, this is how it is giving me the detail that when it was last modified, a storage class is a standard, server side encryption I have not used, size is 6.9 MB, the name of this file is this, and anybody can access it by this link. If I click on this link, right now it is giving me error. The reason behind of this error is because I haven't made my bucket public access. That's why it is not going to be accessed. So anybody who is having this link, they can copy maybe this link address, and if they try to access maybe in a new tab, new incognito window, until unless I don't make it public, it is going to get error like this. If I make public, obviously it is going to be accessed, but again, even if it is being accessed when I make public, it is being accessed from the origin location, the main location only. We are not using any cache server up to now. So to use the cache server, now we have to move to the next service. That service is CloudFront, right? So now we are moving to that service. So I go to services, I search for CloudFront. CloudFront. You can see here global content delivery network, that is what it is, CloudFront is. So I take right click, open in new tab. I want to maybe open it in new tab here, that service. So when I'm there, I can see some of the distribution actually I have created before, so it is showing there. Otherwise, if you are doing for first time, you will not have any distribution there. So now we are going to do the create the distribution here. What we are doing in CloudFront, very first task we are doing is creating the distribution. So go to distribution, create distribution. Here you see there are two type of distribution or delivery method you can have. One is web based, one is RTMP based. So RTMP allow you to distribute the real time flash type of media like videos or something. But here is the message that CloudFront is discontinuing the support of RTMP distribution on December 31st, 2020. That is what I was talking about in the early of today lesson. That this service is going to be stopped from the month December 2020. But this is still going to continue, so it can allow you to speed up the distribution of a static dynamic content, for example HTML, CSS, PHP graphic files, or distributed media files by using HTTP, HTTPS. You can add, update, delete objects and submit data from waveforms. You can use even live streaming to stream an event in real time. So those all tasks you will be able to do by the help of this one. So let me click on get started. Here are the forms which I have to fill properly to use this distribution method to configure our CloudFront. So first task it is asking me that where is your origin domain name, means where is your original data. Where is our original data is? Where is my picture is? If you remember, my pictures are uploaded on S3 bucket. So what I have to use here is, I have here option of bucket or load balancer or the media package origin. So for me, I will be going with the bucket because my data is on bucket, and there are two bucket I have. One is SAUR bucket and one is SKPeak buck 01. So if you remember, this is the bucket where my pictures are uploaded. I can show you from here. What is my bucket name is SKPeak buck 01, where my pictures are. All my 3 pictures are there. So that's why I'm using here this option SKPeak buck 01. This is my bucket name. Now then the next question it is asking me, in this bucket, do you have any folder where your pictures are, or is it directly there? So for me, I can check in this bucket I have directly those pictures. I don't have any folder. I haven't made any folder. When I was uploading the picture, I told you I haven't created any folder. So because I haven't created folder, I don't have to fill this one. Otherwise, if you have created a folder and there your picture is, you will be adding here slash and then the folder name. Next point is origin ID. So it is just same what your bucket name is. Next point, restrict bucket access. The bucket in which you have the picture, do you want to restrict that bucket so nobody can access it? If you say yes, the meaning will be that it will be not accessed by any individual directly. That bucket can be only and only used by the CloudFront. Only CloudFronts or cache server can access that bucket. No any individual directly can access your bucket, and that is what I want. So I am just choosing yes. If you are saying no, meaning that you don't want to have any restriction, somebody can access it through the bucket directly through the bucket also, or somebody can access it through the CloudFront also. So for me, I will be going with yes, meaning that I want to access those picture, those buckets only from the CloudFront, not directly. Then the identity of the access. So I am going with the maybe existing identity because I have already one identity created. If you haven't created, you will just create and you will give any name. For me, I'm just going with this one. Or maybe if you just refresh, it should give you even the new name of this what you have there. Let me refresh and start with the phrase. So I go with the SK pick bucket, origin path, yes, and the identity here it should give me the name, but it is not showing me, so I can create also a new identity or I can use any existing. It completely free, up to you, whatever you want to go for. So maybe I just go with the any of the existing identity, and thereafter now it is telling me grant read permission on the bucket. Do you want to allow the read permission on the bucket? Do you want to update the bucket policy, yes or no? So if I say yes, already by default my bucket will have the read only permission given from the CloudFront. If I say no, I have to go manually there to my bucket and I have to set the permission there. I have to go to the permission side, I have to go to the access control list and I have to set who can access. By default, you see it is by default all blocked to any public access. So that's why what I am choosing is, rather than going like that, I am saying update my bucket policy and make read available there. Thereafter, the next point here, origin connection attempt. How many attempt you want to allow? So by default is 3. What will be the timeout? How many second timeout you want to set for this bucket data? So by default is 10 second. I'm leaving it default. Next, viewer protocol policy. Do you want to use HTTP and HTTPS or redirect HTTPS to only HTTPS? You want to have better security, you will use this one. Or if you want to use only HTTPS, you will go with this one. For me, I haven't set SSL or something, so I will go with the first. Allowed HTTP method, so I am giving a head, get and head both option to it. Next point is cache and origin request, which kind of you want to use. So for me, I will be going with the legacy cache setting. So if I go with the legacy cache setting, what does it mean? That it has some default setting like minimum TTL value is 0, maximum TTL is how much? 3153600. It is nothing else, it's actually in second. And if you calculate, it is going to be all together, if you divide it with the hours and days, you will get 365 days result of this. Meaning that it is giving the maximum TTL of 1 year. Default TTL it is giving of 24 hours. It is represented in seconds, so 86,400 second. Forward cookies if you want to set, query string forwarding caching if you want to set, a smooth stripping if you want to set, you can choose those all options from here. For me, I am going with most of them as a default. Now I am coming to the distribution setting, where you want to distribute this bucket data, who should be having access on it, where you want to keep it, where you want to keep your cache server. So here is the option, price class, use only US, Canada and Europe. Meaning that maybe I have my bucket where my picture are, and that pictures are only going to be accessed by the people who are in US, Canada and Europe. Then I will go with the first option, so that the all cache server will be only created in this US, Canada and Europe, not in America, not in Asia, not in Middle East, not in Australia. If you think that the users are from all over the world, from US, Canada, Europe, Asia, Middle East and Africa, then you go with the second option. Meaning that the cache server will be created in all this content. And if you want to go with the third, that is the best, meaning that it will create the cache server, it will create the CDN all over the place. Every region, every continent it will be there, and it will be giving a best performance. So maybe if I'm not very much sure that, or maybe if I even know that my resources will be used by some of from the Australia also, some are from America, some are from Middle East, some are from India, some are from Africa, then I will go with the last option. Then do you have any web application firewall? Have you created any firewall which will prevent any unauthorized access or any DOS attack or something? You will be choosing from here. For me, I don't have, so I will leave it none, blank. Then do you have any SSL certificate to secure this communication? If you have, you will go with the custom and you will choose. Otherwise, for me, I'm going with the default. And rest option, I'm just leaving it as the default. Enable IPv6, distribution state enable disable. I'm just clicking on create distribution. So once I click on create distribution, it is already being created. I can check from the distribution list. Here you can see this last one, which is I am creating right now, is this one. It is showing in progress. So we just have to wait for a moment to get it ready. It should become like a deployed. Thereafter, we will be able to use it. So it may take few minutes. It may take from like 2 minutes to 10 minutes, depending on the number of data and the size of data which you have on your origin, which is supposed to be cached on your cache server. So we will be just waiting for a moment to get it done. It should become here a status. It should show me deployed. Then we will be able to perform the next task. So let's just wait for a moment. Now it is showing deployed, meaning that now it is ready to use. It is deployed already. So let's have a look here. What are the things it is showing? Delivery method is web. It will be delivering the content with the help of web. ID is here for its identity, unique identity. And this is the domain name. Because we are using the free, so it is giving me this kind of domain name, and this is important right now for me. So I'm going to copy this domain name. Actually, I need to just copy the name, this one. And let me show you something here. This is going to be the domain name, which you can share with your colleague, your friend, and or whoever you want them to be accessing your picture or folder or your bucket. So this is going to be used as a domain name. I can copy this domain name and I can open maybe my incognito mode or any other browser, paste it there, hit enter. You can see it is giving me some kind of error of access denied or something, but it is going to that escape peak bucket 01. That's the location it is going by itself. Now what I'm going to do here is I need to add something more here, that is after that slash the picture name. Which picture you want to directly access, that will be added in the URL. So we have a picture like 200.jpg, 201.jpg, 202.jpg. So if anybody want to access my picture, they will be using like this 200.jpg. So this will be the complete URL of my resource. If you have a video, you will be adding the name of video.mp4 or whatever extension you have. So now this one I can share with anybody. Now people will paste that in the URL. You see the name /200.jpg, and then if you hit enter, this is going to bring my picture there. Right now it is just still giving me error, so just wait for a moment. Let me verify once again. Here 200.jpg. So let me just copy once again and I try here. /200.jpg, hit enter. So let me just verify once again. Okay, so what we can do meanwhile, I have done some change here, it's being in progress. Meanwhile we can test it with the other one which is created before with the same settings. So what is the use here now, how we are going to use actually CloudFront? That we will be using the domain name here. This is the name we are going to distribute. So let me keep this name here in the notepad. This name will be given to others, so everybody is going to get this name. So if they go to the browser and they type it they will be getting this kind of error there, access denied. So they have to add also the name of the files which you have uploaded in that bucket. So let's try adding that name of the picture. For example, here I add slash 200.jpg. What is going to happen now when I will hit enter? If this resource, that 200.jpg, is not available on my cache server, it will be going, the request will be going to the main origin, to my bucket, which will be taking a bit long time. So let's try to hit enter here. Now you see this picture is a bit slow, but next time when if I try this picture, it will be coming a little bit faster because it is going to get from the cache server itself. It's not going to the Ohio server. If you remember, I created my bucket where? In Ohio origin, Ohio region. So in Ohio region I have the bucket, but when I added the CloudFront, the CloudFront has been distributed to everywhere. So whatever the my nearest CDN will be there, that CDN will be responding me quick. So now let's try with the some other picture here also. We have uploaded 201 there. So if I hit 201, you see it is taking a bit time because it is downloading for first time. If I try one more time the same page, you see how fast it is going to be because of the cache. We can test it with the new browser. Maybe this browser has also stored in the cache. So now I'm going to go here. I get this URL and I use it here in my new browser or new tab. Hit enter. Again you can compare, it is a bit faster than the first time whenever it was opening because it is accessed from the cache. It's a very minor difference. I will not be able to show you in a very late or delay time because it is very quick. But what is right now happening only that now the response is not coming from my directly bucket, that who is responding me, my nearest CDN, my nearest CloudFront. Now let's try with the third picture, which I have never accessed. So I go here and I click on picture number 202. Let's try to see how long it is going to take. And then if I refresh this, or maybe if I use it once again, or maybe if somebody else is going to use it, again there is a minor change. We are not able to see that much change, but it is going to be a bit faster compared to the first time because the request is going to come from my nearest CDN, nearest CloudFront. And you see here also my request is coming from this CloudFront, not from my directly bucket. Bucket I haven't given it the public access. If I go to my bucket, no, this is my bucket. So in the bucket, if I check this files and all, I can click on any of them. This is the full path. So if I copy this link or I try to open a new tab from directly from bucket, again it is not accessible. You see, I haven't given the public access to my bucket. Who can access my bucket? Only the CloudFront. CloudFront is able to access my bucket and it is able to show my picture. So anytime who is accessing the picture, it is being responded by the CloudFront, not from the bucket. So now this is what I was trying to explain you about the CloudFront. If I go back again to my previous image which I have been using before. So what is happening here now? If I remove all the ink from here, you see this is where my origin server is, or maybe my bucket is, who is storing the original data. But because we created the CloudFront cache, what is happening now? Whatever data we have here, it is being cached here and stored here also. So now if I am requesting second time, my request is coming to the cache server and cache server is going to respond me back. My request doesn't need to go from cache to now the origin server because of this. So cache server, for example, I have already given you about the YouTube and other big sites, those who are having maybe multiple medias and all. If you have your own dynamic website also, you can have a cache server, so your client will be getting a quick response. The pictures, the videos will be streaming on their computer a bit faster compared to having compared to not having the maybe cache server. So that will be too much benefit. There are so many different type of conditions are where do we need actually the cache server to have a quick and fast response from my service provider or from my website or from whatever service we are hosting on the cloud. So this way, in the practical part, what we have seen that we have created a bucket, then we have uploaded some of the images there or HTML pages, then we created the CloudFront distribution. We have seen what are the settings are required, how to use them, and thereafter we have seen that CloudFront has given us an URL, and that URL is being used to access the S3 content now. Rather than using the S3 bucket URL, what we are using is we are using the URL which is given by the CloudFront with the name of the document. If you have a picture, you are putting picture name. If you have video, you will be putting video there. If you have the any website or something, you will be putting there itself, and that will be opening. Let me finally let me one more thing try here with it. I have one index file which is my website. So if maybe I want to have this website there, what will be the steps followed? So I have to go to simply my bucket. I will go to my bucket. There I will go to upload, add file. I will upload my index file there, you see. I will click on upload. So now if somebody want to access my site, they will be going like this. Here, index.html. Let's test with it. We have to see either the uploading is done or not. Yeah, it is done almost. So if we wait for a moment, the file is going to be open here. You can see now, file is running there. Our site is running from where? From the CloudFront, not directly from S3 bucket. So this way, whatever content you have a picture, you have video, you have a static site, dynamic site, you will be able to give them, you will be able to distribute them by using the CloudFront there. And that was all about the CloudFront. So I hope this video was informative enough for you all, and I would like to thank you for watching.